we'll start in seated meditation. Take the backs of your hands up towards the ceiling and draw your thumb and your index finger to meet. Taking mudra fingers and then gently close your eyes. Taking the first couple moments here to simply tune out of the external world and start to tune in to your internal world. Taking notice of the thoughts and emotions running through your mind and sinking into this present moment. Begin to tune in to the natural cadence of your breath. Feeling the rise of your chest with every inhale and then the fall of your chest with every exhale. We begin to lengthen these inhales and exhales to create some fire from within. So with your next inhale, fill up all the way down to the very pit of your belly. Feel the air rise up to your collarbones. Exhale, open mouth, cleansing breath as you release, letting it go. Beautiful job. Take that again, inhale to fill fully and completely from the base of your belly. Exhale, open mouth, making that HA sound. One final time, inhale to fill fully and completely. Exhale as you open your mouth, releasing all of that energy back out. This time, seal your lips closed, coming into your Ujjayi Pranayama, starting to breathe in and out through your nose, slightly constricting the back of your throat and creating this oceanic sounding breath. So you're forcefully pushing the air back out with every exhalation that you take. We utilize this breath throughout our Ashtanga practice to create heat and therefore energy within our bodies. But most importantly, this breath focuses our mind. It roots us into the present moment. Keeping the cadence of this breath, gently make your way to tabletop position, coming onto your hands and knees. As you arrive, just sway your hips side to side just to gently warm up your spine. If there's a couple cows or cats you'd like to take, feel free to add them here. Just starting to connect movement with breath. And then as you exhale, curl your toes under, push your hips up and back into downward facing dog. As you arrive, you can pedal out your feet. Then start to squeeze your belly button in and up towards your spine, engaging through your Uddiyana Bandha. And then Achilles bandhas and the breath is strong, with an exhale, bend at your knees, turn your gaze in between your hands, step or jump, coming to the top of the mat for forward folds. Inhale as you lift and lengthen halfway, gaze to the horizon. Exhale, fold back down, Uttanasana. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up through standing, gaze to your fingertips. And exhale, hands meet at heart center, Samastitihi, gaze to your fingertips. Inhale, sweep your arms right back up overhead. Exhale, fold in half, Uttanasana. Inhale as you lift and lengthen halfway, flat back. And exhale, plant your hands, step or jump your feet back to a plank, and bend your elbows so your whole body's hovering off your mat. Inhale, roll to the tops of your feet, straighten out your arms, turn your gaze up, upward facing dog. And exhale, curl your toes under, push your hips up and back. Downward facing dog, gazing between your knees. We pause here for 5 deep Ujjayi pranayamas. In and out of your nose. So this downward facing dog is our reset period. It's an opportunity to start again and again. On your 6th exhale, bend your knees, turn your gaze in between your hands. Step or float to the top of the mat. We begin again. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold and close. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up overhead, gaze to your fingertips. And exhale, Samastitihi, closing out round 1. Inhale, arms sweep right back up overhead. Exhale as you float in half. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, vinyasa, plant your hands, step or jump your feet back. Lower your heart, shine it forward, and then push your hips up and back. Beautiful work. As you find yourself in down dog, it's this reset period again. 5 deep Ujjayi pranayamas. On your 6th exhale, bend your knees, turn your gaze, step or float to the top of the mat. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold and close. Inhale, arms sweep all the way up overhead. Exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale, arms sweep right back up, and exhale, you fold in half. This is becoming a fluid dance. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands, step or jump back, and take your vinyasa. Taking this through 3 more rounds to the pace of your breath. So we're really creating this intentional movement. We pause for those 5 breaths in down dog, and then we begin the whole sequence all over again. As you finish up your last couple rounds, we meet in Samastitihi at the top of the mat. Take your time in getting there. From Samastitihi, with an inhale, bend at your knees, sweep your arms back behind you, and then up towards the ceiling for Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, fold in half, straighten your legs. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, vinyasa. Lowering your heart, shining it forward, and then your hips go up and back. We know this. Exhale, your right foot floats in between your hands, spin your back heel flat. Lift your arms high as you inhale, turning your gaze up towards your fingertips. Virabhadrasana A. Exhale, hands come down to frame your right toes, step back to your plank. Lower down, taking your vinyasa. This heat begins to build. Left foot will float in between your hands, spinning your back heel flat. Root to rise, Virabhadrasana A. Exhale, hands come back down, bend your elbows, take your vinyasa, and we meet in downward facing dog where we pause. So there's always this pause, there's always this reset to come back to your breath, to come back to your center. Things move fast, both on and off of our mats. But it's this reconnection that makes everything more meaningful. Samasthiti He, hands meet at heart center, straighten out through your legs. Inhale, right back into your chair pose, sinking nice and low, and exhale, float in half. Inhale to lift and lengthen, exhale, vinyasa, finding yourself in downward facing dog. As you get there, your right foot floats in between your hands, so your back heel flat, lift up, exhale, hands come down, step back, lower down, take your vinyasa. Same exact thing on that left hand side, your left foot floats in between your hands, root to rise, nice and tall, exhale, fold in half, step back, bend your elbows. Here comes that break, once again, downward facing dog, beautiful work, pause, find your breath, find your center. Exhale, bend your knees, turning your gaze, step or float. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, Samasthiti He, and we begin again. Inhale into your chair. Exhale to float forward. Continue taking your Surya Namaskara B, Sun B, to the pace of your breath for 3 more rounds. Starting to utilize some of this fire, this heat that's built from within as we speed up in this Sunday. Beautiful job. Prepare for your last round here. We'll meet in Samasthiti He after you're finished. Samasthiti He, big toes to touch. With an inhale, half or step your feet about hips width apart. Your hands come to your hips. Inhale, puff out your chest. Exhale, fold in half. Take your peace fingers to grab onto your big toes. Padagustasana. Inhale as you lift and lengthen. Exhale, bend at your elbows. See if you can draw your chest even closer towards your thighs, gazing in between your knees. 5 deep Ujjayi pranayamas here, in and out of your nose. Squeezing through your lower belly, that Uddiyana Bandha. That creates a little extra space. With an inhale, straighten out through your arms. Exhale, release your grip and start to place the palms of your hands underneath your feet, so you're actually stepping on your hands here. Padahastasana, keep your gaze in between your knees. Keep that lower belly engaged to create that space in that room. Notice, can you shift forward just a little bit more into the balls of your feet? Yeah, starting to feel this in the back of your legs, this lengthening. Inhale to lift up. Exhale, plant your hands on your hips. Inhale, come all the way up to standing, and exhale, step or jump your feet together. Samasthiti He, top of the mat. With an inhale, take a quarter step, turn out to the right. Turn your right toes to the back of the mat. Arms come out to the letter T. Exhale, tick-tock your right hand over your right toes and then all the way down towards the earth. Inhale, turn your gaze up towards your left fingertips. Utthita Trikonasana, triangle pose. Practice filling the space in your upper back by really shifting your left shoulder on top of your right ear. Steady breath. Exhale to turn your gaze down towards your right toes. Inhale, come back up to that strong letter T and then switch sides. Left toes to the front of the room. Tick-tock your arm over and then all the way down. Inhale, turn your gaze up towards your right fingertips. This time you want to pull your right shoulder back into space so that it's starting to stack on top of your left. Exhale, your gaze goes down. Inhale, come back up to that strong T. Turn your toes to the back of the mat. Right hand to hip. Left arm extends high. And exhale as you fold in half over your right leg. Your left hand places down on the inside of the outside of your right toes. And then inhale, sweep your right arm high to the sky. Revolve triangle. Notice, can you turn your gaze up towards your right fingertips? And if that's not accessible, keep it towards the side of the room. Start to draw your right hip back, your left hip forward into space to realign. Beautiful job. Exhale, your gaze comes down towards your toes. Inhale, back up to that strong T, and we switch sides. Turning to the front of the room, your right arm lifts, left hand on hip. Exhale as you fold in half, right hand on the inside or the outside of your left toes. And then inhale, start to peel open through that left arm. This time that left hip pulls back, right hip pulls forward, squeezing through your lower belly, still engaging that Uddiyana Bandha, that Mula Bandha. So easy for us to forget about those. Exhale, your gaze comes down. Inhale, back up to the letter T, and exhale, step or jump to the top of the mat, Samastitihi. Inhale, take another quarter step, turn out to the right. This time, bend deep into your right knee for extended side angle. Your right forearm comes down towards your right thigh, and then like a swimmer stroke, take your left arm bicep towards your ear. So same concept. See if you can bring your left shoulder blade to stack on top of your right. If you're looking for more, maybe your right hand trickles down towards the mat. Finding your edge here. Nice work. Exhale, turn your gaze down. Inhale, come back up to that letter T, and then switch sides. Left toes to the front of the room. Left forearm to your left thigh. Right arm sweeps up overhead like that swimmer stroke. Turning your gaze up towards your right fingertips. So much going on in just one posture, right? But that breath stays steady, it stays strong, and it gets you through it. Exhale, your gaze comes down towards your toes. Inhale, back up to the letter T. Turn your toes to the back of the mat. Hands meet at heart center for prayer twist, locking your left elbow on the outside of your right thigh. Your back heel can stay grounded or lifted depending on how open your hips are. And now take notice here. Really press away into your left elbow so that your chest is raised, it's lifted. This twist is occurring from the base of the spine. Exhale as you turn your gaze down. Inhale, burst back open into that strong T, and then switch sides. Hands meet at heart center. This time, right elbow locks onto the outside of the left thigh. Sinking nice and low into that left hip. Push away with your right elbow. And notice the small fluctuations in your feet, keeping your balance. Exhale, gaze comes down. Inhale, come all the way back up to that strong T. And exhale, Samastitihi, top of the mat, resets. Inhale, take the widest step out yet. Start to pigeon toe your toes inwards just a little bit. Arms come to the letter T. And then inhale, puff out your chest, take a slight back bend. Exhale as you fold in half, hinge at your waist. Take the palms of your hands and plant them in the same line as the heels of your feet. Inhale as you lift and lengthen. Exhale, bend at your elbows. See if you can draw your chest in between your legs, gazing to the back wall. Beautiful work. Start to shift your weight forward just a little bit into the balls of your feet so you really feel this lengthening and expansion through the back of your legs. Inhale, straighten out your arms, lengthen through your spine. Exhale, hands to hips. Inhale, come all the way back up to standing. Readjust your feet, arms to the letter T. Exhale, hands come behind your back to reach the small of your back. Puff out your chest as you inhale, and exhale, fold in half once again. So we have 4 different variations of this wide-legged forward fold. Some we use gravity and others are more forceful on our behalf. Can you draw your elbows together to meet as much as you can, as if you're pinching something between your shoulder blades? Inhale to rise all the way back up to standing. Adjust your feet, arms to the letter T. Exhale, interlace your fingers behind your back. Start to puff out your chest, turn your gaze up, and exhale, fold in half, keeping the bind with your hands. So this one we're using gravity as well. Shift the weight forward into the balls of the feet just a little bit in any amount. And allow yourself to hang heavy, head and neck released. Inhale to rise all the way back up. Exhale to adjust your feet, arms to the letter T. Inhale, puff out your chest. Final variation. Exhale, fold in half. This time take your peace fingers for your big toes. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, bend at your elbows. See if you can draw your chest back in between your legs, gazing to the back wall. So this one we're using a little bit more forceful pressure, right? We're pulling, we're tugging. Breathe into it. Inhale as you straighten out through your elbows. Exhale, release the grip, hands come to your hips. Inhale, come all the way back up to standing, arms to that letter T. And exhale, Samastitihi, top of the mat, we reset. Inhale, take a quarter step turn just about 2 feet apart. Turn all the way to the back of the mat. Your hands come behind your back, or you can either take reverse namaste, or just grab onto opposite elbows. Inhale as you puff out through your chest. Exhale, begin to fold and hinge over your right leg for pyramid pose. You're really going to start to feel this in the back of your right leg, those hamstrings. Now keep your gaze up towards your big toe. This head and neck is an extension of your spine. Sometimes we forget about that. Try to take your right hip back into space, your left hip forward to readjust. And then inhale as you use your core, come all the way back up to standing. Nice work. Switch sides to the front of the mat. Release opposite elbows. And then inhale as you puff out your chest. Exhale, start to hinge forward, folding in half. Right over your left leg. Keeping your gaze up towards your left toes. Really important to squeeze through that lower belly and innie forward fold so that we create that extra space where there once wasn't any. Inhale as you come all the way back up to standing, using your core, small T towards the side of the room. And exhale, Samastitihi, top of the mat. Coming into the standing balancing series with an inhale, lift your right knee in and up towards your chest. Exhale, take your peace fingers for your big toes, or just hold on to your knee. Inhale, extend your leg out in front of you, or you can keep that knee bent. Go where you can, finding your edge. Beautiful work. Steady breath, steady balance. Like warrior spirit. With an exhale, start to open up your right leg towards the right side of the room. Maybe your gaze goes over your left shoulder here. You got it. Squeezing through your abdomen, that Uddiyana Bandha, that Mula Bandha. Inhale, draw your leg back through center, grab onto it with both hands, and lift it as close to your face as you can. Fold over it. Exhale to release, hands to hips. Keep your leg extended out at 90 degrees. Really pointing through your toe. Can you lift a little bit higher? You got this in you. Everybody has that potential. Sometimes it just takes a little bit to bring it out. One more deep breath in and out of your nose. Exhale to release, Samastitihi. We switch sides with an inhale. Your left knee comes in and up towards your chest. Exhale as you grab onto your peace fingers for your big toes or your knee. Inhale, extend your leg all the way out in front of you. Squeezing through that core. Steady breath. Exhale, your left leg goes out towards the left side of the room, turning your gaze over your right shoulder. draw your leg back through center, grab onto your foot. See if you can bring it as close to your face as you can. And then exhale as you release, hands come to your hips and hold 90 degrees, pointing through that toe. There's energy all the way to the very tips of your toes. One more breath as you lift up a little bit more. You got this. Exhale, Samastitihi, reset. Coming into half bound lotus with an inhale, take your right knee in and up towards your chest. This time, grab onto the right heel and see if you can place it on the inside of your left hip crease. Maybe your right arm comes behind your back to take a bind. Your left arm can extend high up overhead. And as you exhale, just fold in half, hinging forward. You can always place a block underneath you. Take notice of this intensity of the stretch in your outer right hip. Turning your gaze towards your left knee. Breathe into it. Yes, the balance challenge. Ninja status. Use your core with an inhale, come all the way up to standing. Take your leg out in front of you and exhale, Samastitihi. We switch sides. Inhale, left knee in and up towards your chest. Take the heel of the foot, placing it into your right hip crease. Or maybe just taking that figure four. Your left foot goes on top of your right knee. You can take the bind behind your back, and then as you inhale, lift your arm, and exhale, start to fold and hinge forward. Turning your gaze towards your right knee. Any balance posture, the tip is that there's steady breath, steady balance. Pull in your core a little bit more. And then with an inhale, come all the way back up to standing. Kick your foot out in front of you. Exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale, sweep your arms right back overhead, grow nice and tall like a tree, and exhale, float in half. Inhale to lift and lengthen halfway. Exhale, vinyasa. You find yourself in downward facing dog. As you arrive, you can exhale, bend your knees, step or float forward straight into Utkatasana, chair pose. Lift your arms high up overhead, but this time draw the palms of your hands together. Turn your gaze towards your thumbs. So your pectoral muscles are squeezing. Your shoulder blades are going further away from one another. You sink a little bit lower into your hips in any amounts, yes. Exhale, fold in half, straighten your legs. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, vinyasa. We find ourselves in downward facing dog once again. This time your right foot floats in between your hands, spin your back heel flat. Virabhadrasana A, that warrior one. Arms reach all the way up, palms of the hands to touch, gazing towards your thumbs. And then really start to pull your left hip towards your right inner thigh. Good, so your hips are squared towards the front of the room. Keeping your gaze lifted, see if you can straighten out your front leg and start to turn all the way to the back of the mat, bending deep into your left. Yes, you've got it. Draw that right hip towards your left inner thigh. Sink a little bit lower, and then as you exhale, bring your arms out to the letter T for Virabhadrasana B, warrior two, gazing over your left fingertips. Nice, strong, and sturdy. Imagine that your feet are thinning out your mat, so you're energetically pressing through all four corners of your toes. Inhale, start to turn towards the front of the room, and then exhale, bend deep into your right knee, gazing over your right fingertips. Beautiful, one more deep breath, sinking a little bit lower. And exhale, hands come down to frame your right toes, step back, bend your elbows, taking your vinyasa. So from here on out, from downward facing dog, we step or jump through to a seated position, extending your legs all the way out in front of you. Good. Plant your palms of your hands by your hips, your fingertips face the front of the room, and really push into your palms as you flex through your toes. Exhale, draw your chin towards your chest, Dandasana, staff pose. So this is great for the throat chakra, also for the thyroid. It's a whole nother bandha, this throat lock bandha. Inhale to release, sweeping your arms all the way up overhead, and as you exhale, Paschimottanasana, as we fold forward, take your peace fingers to grab for your big toes. Inhale as you lift and lengthen. Exhale, bend at your elbows. See if you can draw your chest closer towards your thighs. towards your big toes. So we have 3 different variations of Paschimottanasana. If one does not work for your body, simply stay in the one prior to it. With an inhale, straighten out through your arms. Exhale, see if you can take the palms of your hands to place it around the backs of your feet. Your thumbs come near your big toes. Same concept as you lift and extend your head, gazing up towards your big toes. Beautiful work. Really start to feel this lengthening through the back side of your body. Your spine is opening and expanding. Inhale to lift and lengthen. Exhale, see if you can grasp your wrist behind your feet. If you need to bend at your knees a little bit to do so, that's always okay. This is the deepest of the variations, so your back might be opening even more here. Breathe into those spots of tension. Inhale as you lift and lengthen. All the way up. Plant your hands about 6 inches back behind you, fingertips facing the front of the room. And with an inhale, bump your hips up, coming into reverse plank, or you can always take reverse tabletop, bending at your knees as well. You're gazing up towards the ceiling or maybe towards the back. Wow. So we stretched out our back side body, and now we're focusing on that front side body. Take one more inhale as you lift a little bit higher, and exhale, come all the way back down, crossing at your ankles. Plant your hands in front of you, step or jump your feet back to a plank, and lower down, taking your vinyasa. From downward facing dog, we jump through to that seated position. And this time, coming into Janu Sirsasana, bend at your right knee, plant the right sole of your foot on the inside of your left thigh, arms sweep high up overhead, and exhale, hinge forward, folding in half. Maybe you take that bind behind your foot. And take your gaze straight towards your knee. This is actually known as nose to knee pose. Notice, can you rotate your right rib cage down and under? Inhale as you slowly rise all the way back up. Exhale, just switch sides. Take your left sole of the foot to the right inner thigh. Lift up, arms reach high, and exhale as you fold and hinge, taking your nose towards your knee. And then check in with that left rib cage. If it's starting to lift out, notice, can you begin to tuck it underneath? So we're still keeping the spine in this straight, elongated line. Inhale to rise all the way back up. Exhale, cross through your ankles, plant your hands, step or jump back to your plank and lower down. You can always go from plank straight back to downward facing dog if you need. Exhale, step or jump through to a seated position. We come straight into Marichisasana C. So bend at your right knee, plant it as close to your hip as you can. Your right arm goes back behind you, and with an inhale, lift your left arm high to the sky. Exhale as you twist, locking your left elbow on the outside of your right knee. Flex through those left toes. This is still an active stretch. And I want you to imagine that your spine is like this wet washcloth. So with every exhale, you twist a little bit more, turning your gaze over your right shoulder, and you're wringing out this washcloth. Beautiful work. Inhale as you come back through center. Exhale to switch sides. Left knee comes in towards your chest. Left hand plants behind you. Right arm with an inhale lifts high. And exhale as you twist, turning your gaze over your left shoulder. Right toes are flexed. They're active. And the same concept with every exhale. Twist a little bit deeper, creating that extra space, that extra sensation. That's what these poses are about, right? Feeling something. Inhale as you come back through center. Exhale, cross at your ankles, plant your hands. Find your way to downward facing dog, however you need to get there. As you arrive, step or jump through to your seated position. Grab onto your 2 blocks, have them by your sides. And with an inhale, boat pose, Navasana. Start to lift your legs up, coming into this V-sit. Your arms extend out in front of you. Knees can be bent or straightened. Steady breath. Really pulling in through your core, that Uddiyana Bandha, shining your heart forward. Exhale. Exhale, cross at your ankles, plant your hands on your blocks or your mat, and bump your hips up to Tadasana. Exhale, lower back down. Inhale, back into Navasana, boat pose. We do this a total of 5 times. Steady breath. Exhale, cross your ankles, plant your hands, bump your hips up, squeezing your knees towards your chest. You've got this. Exhale, bring it back down. Inhale, back into your boat. Really shining your heart. So you'll notice the more that we go through this, the weaker that the boat might get. We always can combat that with the breath. Exhale, cross your ankles, plant your hands, lower back down, inhale back into your boat. Exhale, cross your ankles, Tadasana, bump, booty bump up, exhale, lower down, inhale right back into Navasana. This final round through, maybe you can straighten out through your legs. Beautiful job, this V-sit. Or just exhale, cross your ankles, plant your hands, bump your hips up. And then it's fun to sometimes try to swing your legs all the way back behind you. Or plant your hands in front of you, step back to your plank, and lower down, taking your vinyasa here. You come through to that seated position. And as you arrive, take the soles of your feet together to meet. Your knees drop off to the sides, Baddha Konasana. Inhale as you rise through your chest. Exhale as you fold in half. Keeping your gaze lifted towards your big toes. The head and neck is still this extension of our spine. And I want you to imagine that your hips are pulling you back into space as your chest and your arms are pulling you forward into space. Inhale, rise all the way back up, cross at your ankles, plant your hands, vinyasa through to downward facing dog. We come back through our seat, and this time take your big toes and extend them out to the corners of the room. You're in this seated straddle. Inhale, your arms rise high up overhead, and as you exhale, take your peace fingers for your big toes as you lean and arch forward. Good. Keep your gaze to the tip of your nose here. And essentially your chest is hovering off of your mats, really starting to feel this in your inner thighs. Deep, steady breath. Inhale as you rise all the way back up. Exhale to cross at your ankles. Plant your hands, vinyasa through. This time as you jump through to a seated position, make your way onto your back, coming into a reclined seat. Walk the heels of your feet as close to your hips as you can get them. Your arms come by your sides, and we start with this back bending series. So Siju Bandhasana for bridge pose. Inhale, lift your hips up. Keep your gaze up towards the ceiling. And if you're looking for more, maybe you clasp your hands underneath your tailbone, really starting to puff out through your chest here. Energetically squeeze your knees towards one another as if you're holding a block in between them. Exhale as you slowly release back down. If you'd like to come into wheel instead of bridge, plant the palms by the ears. But if you want that bridge again, inhale, just bump your hips right back up, interlacing your fingers. Maybe you can lift them a little bit higher. Yes, beautiful job. Release your glute muscles here. Exhale, bring them all the way back down towards the earth. Take your knees in and up towards your chest and start to rock front and back the length of your spine until you come up to a seat, extending your legs all the way out. Paschimottanasana. Take any variation that we did earlier that suits your body. This is a beautiful counter stretch for any of our back bends. So you feel that lengthening and expansion throughout your spine. Inhale as you rise all the way back up, and exhale, you're going to roll straight back into shoulder stand. So planting your hands at the small of your back. Roll up and over, and your legs extend all the way towards the ceiling. Beautiful work. So essentially we want to stack our hips directly on top of our shoulders. Our gaze is up towards our big toes, and our breath is steady. Sometimes the breath becomes so shallow when we get into fingers that we feel a little bit more crunched in. If Halasana plow pose is in your practice, as you exhale, start to lower your toes back behind your head, slow and steady, nice work. And then if you can, maybe you interlace your fingers, bringing them down towards your mat and really pushing away with those arms to stack your hips further on top. Deep breaths. With an exhale, bend at your knees. Start to take your knees to cup your ears for deaf man's pose. So my voice should sound muffled here. Just squeezing as much as you can. Finding that edge, this place between too easy and too hard, because that's where we grow, outside of the comfort zone. One more deep breath. Inhale, send your legs all the way back up towards the ceiling, nice and strong. And as you begin to roll out of this with your exhale, bring your forearms down towards your hips for fish pose. Puffing out through your chest, you're bending through your lumbar spine, the top of your head places down onto your mats. Nice work. Your toes are pointed, nice and strong. And really feel your front side, your front body begin to expand and fill with this air. If your head is planted on the ground, you can always bring your arms up, bringing your palms to meet, and maybe you lift your legs to a 45-degree angle, engaging through your core, breathing into this. Exhale, lower your legs back down, lower your chest onto the mat, and then draw your knees in, and just rock gently side to side to equalize your spine, taking a moment here. And then start rocking front and back the length of your spine until you come up to a seat. Start to bind your hands behind your back, or maybe you take opposite elbows. If lotus is in your practice, you can take that as well. Puffing out through your chest, and then exhale as you fold forward. See if you can bring your forehead down towards the earth. Keeping your gaze at the tip of your nose, and breathe for 5 breaths here. Inhale as you come back up to your lotus. This time, take the backs of your hands towards your knees. Move your fingers just as we did at the beginning, your thumb and your index finger to touch. Close your eyes, seated meditation. Taking 10 deep Ujjayi pranayamas here to root and ground you into this present moment. After your 10 breaths, grab your blocks by your side, towards your hips. Plant your palms on your blocks, and with an inhale, try to bump your hips up. One or both feet can lift, and then start with this Bastrika breath, this in and out, this bellows breath. It's this fiery breath that we use 108 times. Beautiful work. So really clearing out this prana, this life force energy as you breathe. As you finish up your last couple, begin to lower your hips. Inhale, lean back just a little bit, and as you exhale, lean forward, stick out your tongue, and release all of that energy back out, lion's breath. Beautiful, do that again. Inhale as you lean back. Exhale, lean forward, stick out your tongue, lion's breath, let it out. One final time, inhale as you lean back. Exhale, release any pent up energy, letting it go. Inhale, come all the way back up to a seat, and then find yourself lying on your back. Coming into this reclined position. As you arrive, take your knees in towards your chest. Give them a tight squeeze, a big hug, a well-deserved hug. And then as you exhale, extend your legs out to the corners of your mat for Shavasana, your final resting posture. Your arms come by your sides, palms up to receive energy from the universe. And gently close your eyes as you simply restore from your Ashtanga practice. Begin to lengthen your inhales and exhales, allowing your breath to bring you back to this present moment. And then start to add some gentle movement into your body, starting with wiggling through your fingers and your toes. Then inhale, extend your arms high up overhead, full body stretch. Fill your lungs with air here. And exhale, open mouth, cleansing breath to release. Beautiful job. One final time, inhale to fill. Exhale, release what doesn't serve you. Gently roll over to your right or left hand side as you come into fetal position. And then use your hand to press yourself up as you come to a seat on your mat. Once you arrive, you'll draw your hands to meet at heart center and turn your internal gaze down towards your fingertips. Bowing in honor to your breath, to your body, and to your practice. The light and love within me truly respects and honors the light and love with you. Namaste.
Namaste. Yay. Yeah, girl.
Yay, thank you. Thank you, thank you. You're an awesome student.
That felt nice.
Good. I'm so glad it did. And it recorded the whole
whole time. I kept checking it.
Oh, did you?